Hello friends, I hope you are well. So as you can tell from the title and from the thumbnail, I thought it would be fun if you join me today on a little bit of perspective practice. I'm sure you have seen this drawing going around and many artists giving their take at drawing this. So the other night, if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen this in my stories. Give it a little try and sketch this. Now, I didn't film the process, unfortunately, so for the sake of this video and as a demonstration for you, let's do it again. Now, first of all, I want to take a look at the original one to see where the problem is, and I'll try to explain it in the most beginner way as possible. Little disclaimer, I hope the original artist doesn't mind. I think it is fantastic to have new people get into art and trying to draw challenging things, because let's be real, this perspective is actually very challenging, not gonna lie. So what is the best way to approach this type of poses and why are they so hard to draw? If you're a new artist, you might find very easy to draw a simple front-facing head, because that is something you see every day. It is a normal, relaxed position that is very well printed into our brains, right? While particular positions and perspective you don't really see that much are way harder, because you don't have that background image to support you while drawing. Or you kinda do, but the memory is very fuzzy and blurred. For you to understand what I just said, we need to isolate the upper part of the face. See what I mean? The character is pretty much looking straight ahead. This drawing was approached like the head was resting normally instead of looking up, because that is the natural position we all have in mind. So all of the facial features, eyes, nose, ears, brows and mouth are not following the correct angle. And that is the main mistake that, of course, then inevitably brought to the big neck. I hope the explanation was understandable. Now I'll show you how I draw this. I will start with my usual circle and then two lines across the face. This will determine the angle and are very crucial. Our character is looking up, so we need both the lines to be curved towards the top and cross pretty high up. Just for reference, if the character was looking down, it would be the opposite, so the lines would be curved towards the bottom. What I usually do now is giving myself an indication of the entire face, like this, and where I want my chin to be. I like to mark this with a small oval. How big or small will of course depend on your art style, on the character, etc. Another mistake I can spot on the original artwork is the position of the ears. At the beginning, we really underestimate how much impact the ears position has on the head perspective. I want the upper part to touch the eyes guideline. This is of course a pointy ear, so I like to follow that guideline for the entire length, like this. Then I connect it to the jaw and the neck. That bottom part of the neck is what the majority of people find hard to recreate, but our little oval here will help us. What I like to do is making the neck first and the shoulders. As you can see, I leave these two lines disconnected. Remember what I said before, that since the character is looking up, our guidelines will be curved towards the top, right? That goes for our facial features too. In the original artwork, the character is smiling, so the mouth is curved upwards, but we actually need the opposite. And I know it sounds counterintuitive, but just look. Don't worry, your character can still appear like it's smiling, and our little corners of the mouth will give that result, just like this. And then we move on to the nose, which was approached kinda correctly, seeing it from the bottom, but I want my nostrils to be visible. Now, I draw them in my art style. If you don't, you can leave it blank. What matters is this bottom triangle. If you've seen my how to draw faces video, you know that I like to do a little oval here too to represent the nose tip, like this. And from there, I make another line that extends to the top. This will be the nose bridge, which will actually help us identify our eye socket by connecting it to our brow. We won't have much forehead left to show because this angle will hide most of it, but we'll go back to that later. So let's work on the eyes first. So let's go back to our guideline. Let's make good use of it. Little tip, I like to draw the eye opposite to my dominant hand first, so that when I draw the other one, I can keep looking at the one I already drew for reference without my hand covering it. I like to do my inner corner first and then the upper lid. Make sure your outer corner follows our guideline. Lashes are actually very important because they determine the gaze direction. So when you do the other eye, don't draw them all over the place, otherwise it won't be clear where your character is looking. Try to always follow the same direction. Another very important thing is the placement of the pupil. Let me show you this very explicative graphic I created for you. So you have to imagine the iris like a little ball curved inward. At the bottom of this ball lays our pupil, and over it we have a little dome of transparent jelly. This is my top tier explanation. This means that if the character is looking straight ahead, the pupil will be in the middle, but if our character is looking to the side, the pupil will be slightly pushed backwards. This is what makes our iris look very three-dimensional. If you place the pupil at the center at every angle, the eyes will look very flat, like you put a sticker on it, and we don't want that. This is actually one of the most common mistakes I see because it is something that isn't intuitive and immediate to understand. To be fair, you actually need to have someone who tells you that and makes you notice this little detail, so I hope this helps. Once we have placed all the facial features, it will be really easy to position the hairline and determine where the forehead ends. As I said before, the character is looking up. This means that we won't be able to actually see the hairline. Depending on how dramatic the angle is, it will be most likely hidden. So I kind of start drawing the bangs like this with the hair strands falling from the top. Another tip to draw hair is to just let your hand flow very softly. Hair is very free, so you don't have to approach it like you are drawing something with extreme precision. It is actually quite the opposite. Unless of course you are drawing a very structured hairdo, but it isn't the case here. We have our bangs and our ponytails, and those need to be dynamic and full. Maybe the wind is blowing the strands all around, who knows? So make long, curved strokes using your entire forearm. Now that the sketch is pretty much done, I like to look at it from afar to see if something is off. For example, I still thought that the nose was a bit too long and low on the face, so I adjusted that. And you can do this with all the facial features if you want. And of course, you can now add your accessories and details on her dress. I actually did that while I was sketching all around because it helps me see the entire vibe of the character, so I like to do that in the middle of sketching the figure, but of course you do whatever you please.
I have a feeling I might like the older one much better. Okay, so I can already see. I don't know, I think I like this one better. It's a little bit cuter, especially on the mouth part. Also, the ears are bigger, which might contribute to the fact that this one looks way cuter. I think it's okay. She has a longer nose. Here, nose turned out much shorter. Well, I like them both, but I think I like the older one better. What do you think? Let me know down below in the comments.
So I really hope you guys found this video helpful and understood a little bit of perspective. It is one of the hardest things to master, so don't fear if you're still at the beginner level. It takes time, it takes practice, and mostly your eyes need to be trained, and that comes with patience and time, so don't be afraid of that. Just keep on practicing and you'll do amazing. And also, I suggest you to join this challenge because it is very fun and many artists already did it. It's nice to see people come together for something and, you know, have fun together. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye bye!